Khabib Nurmagomedov with a crazy statement and saying Ilia Topuria has a very low chance. He actually says he can't see him having a chance against Arman Tsarukyan. Arman's just too much. Also, Tyron Woodley is saying that Jack Della Maddalena would not have been able to hang in his time period when he was a champ. In fact, he's not only saying he wouldn't be able to hang, he's saying he can think of 10 people in his division back when he was champ in 2018, 2017. He can think of 10 people that could have beaten JDM. Wild statement. Okay? The return of the crafty one, Davey Grant.
Davey Grant.
Okay? Also, not a slow news week at all. We just got ESPN MMA posting about the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo liked Khamzat Chimaev's post on Instagram. I mean, this is insane. This is unprecedented. Again, 89,000 likes. The world is going bonkers. I don't know if we'll ever recover from this. Honestly, I'm going to get to that as well. Also, Leon Edwards is saying that he is going to return on a pay-per-view, on a big card where there's going to be a big championship fight. We're going to try to guess who he'll be fighting. But before we get into this, guys, I mentioned a couple of videos ago that I'm going to do a members section of this channel as an addition for my fitness programs. I'm going to come out with a whole video series with vlogs, tier lists, reaction videos. It's going to be like a month-long or a couple-month-long video series that I slowly roll out. That will be coming soon. So if you're interested, stay tuned for that. First and foremost, let's get into this. Khabib Nurmagomedov, he's talking about this potential super hyped fight between Arman and Ilia. And he's saying that he doesn't really see a path to victory for Ilia Dynamite in his hands Topuria. That's right. Ilia Topuria, who made Charles Oliveira look like he was 10 levels below him. And I know styles make fights. I totally get that. And there's going to be the MMA nerds that are going to be saying, well, technically, Arman's style is just so different. Right? But yeah, he can't see Arman, who went to a split decision with Charles Oliveira. And, you know, Arman has had some dominant fights, but let's be honest, he's not doing it like Ilia. He can't see Ilia beating Arman. And we're going to read a statement. Now, keep in mind, I don't think you're crazy for picking Arman Tsarukyan to beat Ilia Topuria, but to say he doesn't see a path to victory? Anyway, he says, brother, I can't see any chances for Topuria. Even in the striking exchanges, Arman is too good. Arman's too good. All right, forget about the lighter man skill featherweight edition. Forget about the fact that he literally checkmated Alexander Volkanovski, maybe the best striker ever. The guys that Ilia Topuria is KOing, like, they're all in the conversation for like top 5 strikers in MMA history. Forget about that. Arman Tsarukyan and his simpleton man's jab, where he barely scraped by in the striking exchanges against Oliveira. Now, granted, I do think the reason why Arman ultimately won that fight, it comes down to that third round. Arman won most of the striking exchanges. Like, Arman was busier on the feet and doing better on the feet. And that simpleton's jab was able to work. And Arman has a good kicking game. But, like, come on, man. You look at Arman striking, competitive with Gamrot, competitive with Oliveira. You know, he got the better of him, but didn't really put a stamp on it, right? Listen, you could also just use the eye test. Arman Tsarukyan, good kicking game, but again, boxing, simple man's jab, it's lightweight striking. Ilia Topuria is in there with Volkanovski and Max Holloway going tit for tat. We see what happens when Max Holloway moves up to lightweight, by the way, against other strikers, predominant, first and foremost strikers, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway fucking suns them and basically schools them. Arman Tsarukyan, good striking, well-rounded, not on Poirier's level. You know what I mean? Not on that level. If Max Holloway is able to fucking school the best lightweight strikers, Gaethje has beaten Rafael Fiziev twice, by the way, school Dustin Poirier. I mean, come on. Too good in the striking? Ilia Topuria knocked out Charles Oliveira with 30 seconds of striking time. I think the fight was like 2 minutes long, maybe a minute and 15 seconds took place on the ground, and then like 45 seconds took place on the feet. 45 seconds is all he needed. He was too fast. Too fast. It wasn't, Charles Oliveira made such a mistake, he had his hands down. That's not really what it was. It's not like Charles Oliveira, hands down, keep your hands up. No, it was Oliveira was closing the distance, going to do something, and he's out. Why is he out? He's out because Ilia Topuria's hand speed, footwork is on another level of speed compared to these lightweights. Too good on the feet? Come on. What are we talking about? He then says he's good at controlling the distance. He has better... Against who, though? Again, I do think that Arman will do better on the feet than Oliveira. I think he has a better style. I think the kicking game against someone like Ilia, that's better for a guy like Arman than it is for Charles, who has most of his success closing the distance, getting into the dirty boxing, clinch striking range. But still, too good at controlling the distance? I don't know, man. If you're having competitive rounds with Gamrot, I know he beat Gamrot, I know he outstruck Gamrot, but it's just too competitive with guys that aren't even close to Ilia Topuria's level. He has better kicks, and also Arman has plenty of material to watch and study. Ilia has plenty of material to watch and study on Arman as well. Let's see. He says he keeps his distance well, works better with his legs, and now Arman is too good. Right now, brother, Ilia, last year, 2025, June, brother, Ilia was the man. But right now, I think Arman's the man right now. Right now, I think Arman is the best in the world. He has it right now. The torch has been passed to Arman. Ilia, I think June 2025, I think Ilia was the best. But right now, Arman. I'm just joking around a little bit. But he says if 3 fights ago he fought with him, maybe he wouldn't. But now you can already see what to fear from Topuria. But it's like he's basically saying a few fights ago, he wouldn't have enough fight footage of Ilia Topuria to really be able to game plan well for him. But now he has enough. I mean, yeah, like you're really going to see a whole lot of flaws in Ilia Topuria's game against Charles Oliveira, the 2-minute fight in which he won 99.9% of it outside of getting hit with one elbow. Okay? Like, sure, he showed some flaws against Volk, who's one of the only fighters to ever exist in MMA that is capable of making you look somewhat not great in moments on the feet because it's Volk, right? I think right now the best lightweight is Tsarukyan. Again, let's just talk about this. I don't think it's crazy to pick Tsarukyan. I don't think it's crazy to say I think Tsarukyan's kicking game is going to be good enough for him to bide his time on the feet, stay at a safe distance, and I think that he'll frustrate Topuria and he'll be big and strong enough and skilled enough to be able to take Topuria down and control him, maybe finish him. But either way, I think the mixing of the wrestling and the striking is going to be a lot. But to say that I think the striking's too much, Arman's just too good on the feet. I just don't see Ilia being able to handle that, man. Man, you got to word it differently. But the way Khabib is wording it is as if Arman Tsarukyan's too far ahead in the striking. No, the fuck he isn't. No, the fuck he's not. He has never, not once in his entire career, done anything close to the level of impressive striking that Ilia Topuria is showcasing. Not once. Ilia Topuria is knocking Volkanovski out. Ilia Topuria is skillfully going tit for tat with Max Holloway and then knocking him out. He is out-grappling Charles Oliveira, okay? And all he needs is 40 seconds on the feet to put his lights out because Oliveira is such a simpleton on the feet compared to him. Such a simpleton. I'm obviously on the feet. I'm not saying Oliveira is stupid or anything, but you get my point. I'm saying his striking game is super simple. Arman had maybe 7 minutes of striking time with Oliveira on the feet. Yeah, he won those exchanges. Oliveira really didn't do a whole lot, but let's not pretend that Arman schooled him on the feet or really, whooped his ass that much on the feet. He was kind of just slightly ahead, doing a little bit more, just a little bit busier. We don't talk about Topuria winning striking battles I just think Topuria was a little bit busier, man. We don't leave Topuria's fight saying, Topuria, I think he sort of edged out the striking, man. That's how you leave Tsarukyan fights, though. Yeah, it was a good fight. I think, Tsarukyan gave him the nod because he was the slightly busier striker. You don't do that after a Topuria fight. You say, man, this was a fucking war, but dude, Ilia Topuria sent this guy to the Shadow Realm. And I'm not a Shadow Realm glazer. I'm not like a knockouts are the best, man. Like, yeah, knockouts are awesome to watch, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're the most skilled because you knock people out. But you look at a guy like Ilia Topuria, you look at the way he's knocking people out, like Volk, for example. That's not a big, gnarly Josh Emmett, big, meaty hook overhand, right? That is a pitch-perfect combination after slipping a jab of Volkanovski and showcasing perfect footwork, perfect technique with his boxing, and he has unbelievable power as well. Arman has never in his entire life faced someone with the power and the technique and the speed of Ilia Topuria on the feet, and neither had Charles Oliveira until he fought Ilia. Charles had fought Dustin Poirier, powerful, technical, not even fucking close to the level of Ilia Topuria. That's right. Someone as good as Dustin, I consider him one of the best strikers of all time. Powerful, technical, still not even close to having the level of lethalness because of his technique, speed, all of that power combined. I'm sorry, but this is just a terrible take. I don't think Khabib is crazy for picking Arman, but I think, again, talking about the striking like Arman has the advantage is just fucking crazy in my opinion. So let's get on to Tyron Woodley. Woodley is not impressed with JDM. He says, he wouldn't have even been in my crosshairs. I could think of 10 people in my division at the time that I was a champion that would have beat him. 10 people. Woodley is basically doing the old, well, when I was champion, our division was way better. Our division was way tougher when I was champ. Right? This is like classic old head take. Now, to be fair, Woodley's title reign was not necessarily in old head times, 2017, 2016, 2018. But not modern times. Like that is actually, if you think about it, I mean, that was what, 8 years ago? 7-8 years ago? Woodley was last champ. Listen, JDM just beat Bilal Muhammad. JDM's had some really good performances. Let's look at the people that were ranked at the time of Woodley's title reign. This guy left a comment on that post basically listing the top 10 at the time. Woodley, Colby Covington, Stephen Thompson, RDA. Listen, maybe the 10th person, maybe out of the 10 names Woodley would name, RDA wouldn't be one of them, and you'd have to go to someone that was unranked at the time. But right off the bat, top 10, there's already someone that would absolutely get smoked by JDM. RDA, I don't care if he's in his prime, RDA would have gotten absolutely fucking smoked by Jack Della Maddalena. I think RDA, as much as a grizzled vet, a UFC legend, as much as he's a longtime UFC legend, he is one of the most overrated fighters of all time, namely because he gets an unbelievable amount of brownie points for just fighting a lot of fights and always facing tough levels of competition. But in my opinion, RDA, after his championship win, he was kind of like a journeyman for the rest of his career. Like every single one of those tough fights people hype up RDA for, listen, again, RDA, tough guy. I respect him. He lost like 90% of those, and we're talking like 20 of them. RDA would have gotten fucking rolled up and smoked by JDM. Let's get on to the next one. Robbie Lawler. JDM is known for his toughness. JDM is known for the grit down. He's known for being gritty. He's known for being a tough son of a bitch. Okay? That's like literally one of the reasons why he's so darn tough to beat and win against in a fight. I don't think someone as skilled and crisp with his boxing and striking and striking instincts as JDM, also known for his toughness, is losing to Robbie Ruthless Toothless Lawler. As tough as Robbie Lawler was, like I get it, he beat Rory McDonald. Rory McDonald was a pretty well-rounded, solid MMA fighter who had good striking. Robbie Lawler was a great fighter, very dangerous. He was not as technical, nowhere near the level of boxing as Jack Della Maddalena. He's basically a Robbie Lawler 2.0. As far as he's tough as fuck, but he's not even a wild man. He's a highly technical striker with high output, heavy hands with the toughness of Lawler. He wins. I'm sorry, he wins. Rory McDonald, I'm sorry, JDM wins. I know there's going to be some hardcores in the comments that are saying, nope, you're wrong in this. That's the L take of the video, man. Rory McDonald, you got to understand, was doing this and that. You got to understand Rory McDonald was doing the outside foot battle and The way Rory McDonald would kick the inside leg would be a little bit different, man. I think the JDM thing, you think you're right on everything else? Dude, Rory McDonald was good. Rory McDonald was a good fighter, but I have to pick JDM. I'm sorry. Kamaru Usman, that's up for debate. I think Kamaru Usman's wrestling would be strong. Okay, maybe you can make an argument there. I'm not going to fight you on that one. I do think JDM would have a decent chance to beat Usman, but I concede to the fact that Usman, as far as Woodley's argument goes, he would be able to beat him, or you could pick him to beat him, and you're not crazy for saying that. But again, RDA, Robbie Lawler, Rory McDonald, that's three people I think JDM beats, and I think most people watching this would agree with that. We haven't even really got to Tyron Woodley and Colby Covington, by the way. I think JDM would beat Tyron Woodley. I think JDM would beat Colby Covington. Now again, prime Colby Covington, sure, wrestling pressure, wrestling pace, but I don't know, JDM, pretty good survivability, showcased amazing takedown defense in the Bilal Muhammad fight, improved takedown defense in that fight, brick wall level of takedown defense in that fight. Craig Jones specifics, Colby Covington, split decision with RDA, going to absolute war, hell and back against Kamaru Usman, when Usman, again, Usman was a very dangerous striker, but the point that I'm making is, to be honest, Colby Covington, even in his prime, I think we could agree was overrated in his prime. Like, there was a time where Colby was very impressive, but I think JDM would be a tough one. I think he would take JDM down, but I think JDM wins that. I think JDM gets back up to his feet, stuffs takedowns, has the cardio, has the gas tank, has the specifics, and has the boxing to really punish a guy like Colby Covington, and I think he would finish him. Darren Till, that's actually interesting. That's actually an interesting one. Now, some people are going to think I'm crazy. They've said that I'm too high on Darren Till, that I overhyped Darren Till. I actually do think that Darren Till would be a really tough fight for JDM because he kind of is like a more boxing-heavy version of Ian Gary, and what I mean by that is Ian Gary's really a master at keeping distance and staying out of, dangerous positions on the feet. Darren Till was kind of similar. Darren Till could slow that down. I've rarely ever seen Darren Till be dragged into a war. And I feel like JDM would really need Darren Till to be sitting in the pocket. I think he could maybe win rounds by being the elusive, long-rangey striker. That being said, I don't know. I think you can make a great argument for JDM winning that too. But again, Woodley is saying he could think of 10 people that could beat him. Darren Till's maybe one. Most people would disagree with that, though. But the point is, I've already come up with a bunch of these guys in the top 10 that would fucking lose. Damian Maia would get smoked by JDM. Damian Maia, as much as he was an amazing grappler, also in his prime, in my opinion, overrated. Damian Maia doesn't actually have that many great wins. And he had literally zero striking. He was a slow poke on the feet, and I know his grappling was good. But all I'm saying is I think that Jack Della Maddalena, with his current brick wall takedown defense, not the JDM that made a bunch of mistakes against Basil Hoffus, the current champion Jack Della Maddalena would have shucked Damian Maia off of him and rolled him up into a Bazooka Joe joint and smoked him. All right. The most compelling argument is Usman and Stephen Thompson. Everyone else, at best, it's a 50-50 with. Maybe two of them at best, it's 50-50. The other six people, JDM's too much for at least six of these people in the top 10. So, I'm not totally biased to new era fighters. I understand how good Stephen Thompson was. I understand how good Prime Usman was. But even then, at best, these are all 50-50s at best for some of these people. But, the way Woodley is describing JDM is as if he's like, a fluke champion, like a one-hit wonder, he's in and he's out kind of champion. If you watch the takedown defense and the striking of Jack Della Maddalena in that Bilal Muhammad fight, it becomes very clear that this is actually one of the most elite fighters we have ever seen. Like, I'm not about to sit here and pretend that, the level was just so much greater in 2017. Like, fuck, no, it wasn't. It was not that much greater. It was actually significantly worse. Let's get to the big news. So, Cristiano Ronaldo liked one of Khamzat Chimaev's posts after he became the middleweight champion. Honestly, before I continue to read, that's one of the coolest things ever. I don't understand why this isn't making headlines and why this isn't on the front of every single newspaper today. But also, because I had to really mentally prepare myself before making this video because this is such an important topic. You almost have to meditate on this for at least 10 minutes to really let it sink in just how unprecedented an event like this is, I did before the video, and I shed some tears. So right off the bat, we have to treat this with a level of severity that it deserves. 3 years earlier, so Ronaldo likes Chimaev's post after he became a champion. 3 years earlier, Chimaev reached out to Ronaldo on Instagram and invited him to one of his fights. We have to have a moment of silence for just how unbelievable this story is. Sorry, guys. I shouldn't laugh at something this serious. Yeah. Sometimes, you know what? ESPN MMA, they're doing some good work. This is really good stuff. Davey Grant, the crafty Davy Jones Locker veteran, Davey Grant, is back fighting this October during the UFC's most stacked month of all time. And I'm liking this. This is going to be a pure striking battle. Charles Jourdain, striker for the most part, very entertaining, high output, but Davey Grant, just as entertaining, just as high output, but also just that extra bit of gritty. Also just that extra bit of no bullshit and craft. If he wins this, we got to have him fight in the UK. Davey Grant main event, sell it as the Crafty Fest. The UFC's first ever Crafty Fest. Headlined by Davey Grant. Barbozi maybe in the co-main event. But either way, I mean, I would love to see if he wins this, Davey Grant, put him on after Tom Aspinall knocks out Cyril Gane. I'd like to see him be on a main card of an Aspinall UK card, okay? I'd love to see him on a pay-per-view in the UK after this. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Until next time.